battalion of U.S. 1st Air Cavalry clashes with North Vietnamese regulars in the central coastal plain near Bong Son. Heavy and accurate sniper fire, zeroed in by telescopic sights, keeps our forces pinned down and dug in. Supporting fire from airmobile gunships helps to drive off the Kong, estimated to number about 150. After the fighting, copters put down to evacuate the wounded. 2 Americans were listed as dead. One was a machine gunner, and the second his company commander, who took over the machine gun from his fallen comrade and was killed himself. 13 GIs were wounded, 4 enemy soldiers were counted among the casualties.
Today we're doing a life casting of Jim Causey. Life casting is meant to honor him for what he has done serving us through the Vietnam War, flying his helicopter. We're going to be casting his hand on a control stick. I think it's very important that we honor people that have made a difference, and certainly anyone that's serving in our country to preserve our freedom is making a difference.
Chalk 6 has taken fire.
I'm right behind you. Roger that. I'm still receiving heavy fire, but I'd like to work that area over. Take that wall, but go pick up this way. Get 316. That's right. I've been trying over here to the north. Roger that, I got it. And Waldo, this is taking an early state fire from the east. It looks like it's coming from the east. Roger that. Going out to the north and pick up where you
My name is Jim Causey, and I'm here at the Don Wiegand studio in Chesterfield, Missouri. I was invited here by Don to cast my hand holding the cyclic grip of the helicopter that I flew in Vietnam. And I'm proud of my service in Vietnam.
Jim, this is a very special day for you and for your family. We're so proud and happy that you could enjoy it with us. The Wiegand Foundation was formed in 2004 to honor people such as yourself who've served your country, served your fellow man. We thank you so much for your service to our country and for your service to the men and women with whom you serve.
Don, thank you very much. This means a lot to me and to our family, and I'm accepting this on behalf of the over 40,000 Army helicopter pilots who flew in Vietnam, and we flew 12,000 aircraft. And it's a story that's not told very often, and I don't know how to express any other way than saying this is a piece of art, and my family and I we're gonna treasure it for the rest of our lives. So I truly appreciate the opportunity to receive this. I appreciate the respect that you've given me, and identify the respect that you have for the rest of my colleagues, my Vietnam brothers. I do have a comment to make. And I put it on paper because sometimes these words are hard. So 2,700,000 servicemen served on the ground in Vietnam. Hundreds of thousands of others served in Thailand and in the waters off of the coast of Vietnam. The Coast Guard even got involved in Vietnam as well. Much like the Korean War veterans, we Vietnam veterans did not return here as honored victors. We hold another place in history due to failing political events. It's been hard for us to deal with, but I can tell you that there were 3 countries that fought in Vietnam: Australia, the USA, and Korea. And if you think about your history, Korea, a line was drawn in the sand to stop Chinese communism. And in Vietnam, a line was drawn in the sand and stopped communism again. We didn't have the traditional victory. We did the fighting, but there were 5 countries that benefited. If you just look at the map, you can see that the Philippines and Malaysia and Indonesia and Singapore did not feel they were spared from the advancing Chinese and Russian communist movement. So if you ever wonder if the war was worth it, were 58,000 lives worth it, were 300,000 wounded worth it, 75,000 permanently disabled, and hundreds of thousands with unhealed emotional and moral wounds. It was worth it because there are 435 million people living in those 5 countries who don't have a government like ours, but they do not have the Russian and Chinese wave that was flying through that area. So it's wonderful to accept this. It's wonderful to be recognized, not me personally, but the 44,000 Army helicopter pilots that I served with, and more importantly, all the 2,700,000 other Vietnam veterans. So thank you so much. I appreciate this very much, and my wife does too, she's telling me. And another comment, when you go to war as a 20-year-old, you don't know what you're doing. You have no clue. And there wasn't really it just didn't show up on your radar screen. They all went with different feelings. I went with a total feeling of security. I didn't want to die, but I didn't fear death because I knew what my destiny was if I had died. I had trusted Christ, and I was in His arms. So to me, it was a nice feeling of security as I entered into a part of my life that was very not secure. So, Don, again, thank you so much for all your thoughts and all this work.
So, as you were talking about the sculpture, Don, I was looking at the cyclic grip, and there's a ton of memories around that. And so this was the cyclic, represents the cyclic of the OH-6 Alpha Scout air helicopter that I flew. And what I remember is that this was everything in my life because it enabled me to accomplish my mission by flying away and do the things that I did to help our ground troopers. But it has different features to it. It has a trim button. It allowed me to stabilize the aircraft so I didn't have fatigue. I had several radios I could listen to. FM, UHF, just ground troopers talking, artillery people talking. So this was a single communication piece that
touched many, many facets of this giant thing called the military. It was also the device that I could use to point to finish my mission and call it a day. It was the device that I used to make sure that when I was landing, I was pointed in the right direction. And all those things were good about it. But on the dark side, there's a feature about this that allows you to pull a trigger that takes lives. And it's been said that to give your life for your country is a hard thing to do, but another hard thing to do is to take a life for your country. So I see a lot of things in this cycle, good things and the reality things, but it's a fistful of memory, Don. So again, thank you very much. I had a strong faith life as a fairly young Christian when I went to Vietnam. And when I came back, I didn't flounder around. I found work, and I found myself in a local church, and my kids involved in the church, and my wife involved heavily as a musician. And I believe that was a grounding for me. I've wondered at times that if I were single and didn't have a strong moral compass when I came back, I don't know if I had the strength to navigate all that baggage by myself. And to this day, my faith is as strong as it ever was. I enjoy fellowship with other people of my faith. I am so thankful that when I came back to Vietnam, I had some strong grounding points. I had my wife, my family, I had people in church who embraced me. I had a job that I had to focus on to support my family, and all the dust and baggage I brought back with me just got shoved down for a long time. And like every other veteran, it's still there, and people say get rid of it, and sometimes there's things you just can't get rid of, but you have to manage them. But I'm happy with my life now. I'm proud of my Vietnam veteran fellows. They're my brothers. I'm proud of the the War on Terror veterans who are coming back, because they're my brothers. I know we'll have more veterans, we'll have more wars. And I just hope we learn how to manage it so that the coming home stress isn't as hard on them as it was on the Vietnam veterans. In conclusion, I want to send a message to my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren and some future generations. I can't imagine us as a country getting ourselves into a situation like Vietnam again. I think war is going to be different. I think it's going to be much more technical. But I know that there are going to be a very small portion of the military who see the actual eyeball-to-eyeball combat. And I think the message that I would like to send to them is, if they are veterans, be strong, be brave, and if they're not veterans, try to understand that they had to be strong and be brave, and treat them with respect.